In this video, I'm going to talk about some of the small, different pieces of gadgets and tech that really make my life a lot easier. Let's get into it. Technology is defined as the use of scientific knowledge to solve practical problems. And when we think of technology, we think of phones, tablets, computers, and even these days, cars. But what about the little pieces of tech that make our lives easier? My name is Patrick and this is Everyday Tech for everyday people. And in this video, I'm not going to talk about some computer or a phone. I'm going to talk about some of the small gadgets, small pieces of technology that make my life easier on a day-to-day basis. Some of these are very, very low tech or non-tech, if you would say. But these things, I would definitely recommend these things to help you with different tasks in your day. Let's start with the most expensive thing on the list. This is the Elgato Stream Deck Mini. This is an $80 6-button small control panel that you can customize to do any kind of task. Now, if you do any kind of live production such as live streaming, I would recommend spending more money on the 15-button Stream Deck or even the 32-button Stream Deck XL. But I would say for 95% of people, the Stream Deck Mini is just fine. Now, if you're using video calls, doing video calls such as Zoom or Teams, I would say this is a game changer. To be able to mute and unmute with the press of a button is awesome. In addition to that, for Zoom, I have buttons that turn on and off and toggle between single view and gallery views, turning on and off my video, toggling the participant list, and toggling even the chat window. Now you can customize the buttons depending on what application you have open, or you can organize things in folders. So that's the Stream Deck Mini. These next set of products are in a category called cleaning. Now, this is one of my most used gadgets. It's an electronic air duster. Now we know these compressed air cans. Like many people, I started using these to dust out internal computer desktop parts. A more common use today is that people use these to clean out stuff that gets stuck in between your keyboard keys. Now, one of the things that bothered me in a previous job is I saw a few coworkers use these cans to blow out the dust on their desk. Now, why did it bother me? Well, these things don't last very long and they're pretty expensive, so the cost can build up. So that's where these things come in. This has a rechargeable battery and this happens to have a micro USB connector. I use this not only for cleaning out things in between my keyboard, but I use it probably every other day to blow out dust that I see on my monitor, the things on my desk, and probably once a week I use it to blow dust off the things under my desk as well. And I've seen even a bunch of dust fly out by blowing it into the vents of my Mac Mini. But one thing I'll say is this is an air blower and not a vacuum. So you're really moving dust elsewhere. So don't forget to vacuum. Now compared to a compressed air can, this thing is definitely not as strong. So don't think this is a full replacement for this. Just think of it as a different wrench in your toolbox, a different size wrench. Continuing on the subject of cleaning, let's talk about this. This is the Whoosh 2.0 screen cleaner. It's a fancy name for a screen cleaner, but this thing actually works. We're staring at screens all the time, so it's nice to be able to stare at clean screens. This thing works on all kinds of screens. Computer monitors, TVs, iPads, phones, glossy screens, matte screens. Now it's environmentally safe and safe to use on any type of electronics. Now it comes with a microfiber cloth. Now to use it, don't spray it on any electronics directly, but spray it on the cloth and just wipe. So I put this protective keyboard cover on my MacBook Air, and you can see the imprints of the cover on the screen. So I use the Whoosh to clean that up regularly, and I highly recommend getting this. These next group of products are under the category of power. So more and more our electronics that we have, especially our small gadgets, use some form of USB to charge them. Now we have so many devices in this house, especially ones made by that fruit company. So we have iPhones, iPads, and watches. Now all these use USB to charge them. So I have a few of these around the house. This is a USB charging hub. Now this beats having individual charging bricks for everything. Now this one in particular is made by Anker, has 6 USB-A ports here. Now I have one downstairs that has even a USB-C port as well. So I have another generic branded one downstairs as well, which helps to serve as a charging hub for all kinds of things. Now, if you want to make your life easier, get a charging hub. I definitely recommend getting one of these made by Anker. Sometimes when you get a generic one, it can make a high-pitched whining noise, especially when you plug things into it. So with charging, you definitely need cables. So yes, get your USB-A and USB-C cables. I want to talk about this particular cable. This cable has a USB-A port on one end, and that plugs into your power source. And on the other end, it splits into 3 USB-C ports. Now, this is especially awesome for me to charge my portable microphones. Like this one I'm using by Rode. It has a microphone and a receiver. Or this other one I sometimes use by Comica, which has 2 microphones and 1 receiver. So I'm able to charge all these units all at once. Recently, I got my first Apple Watch, so I wanted to have some power on the go. Yes, this Apple Watch does last pretty much the whole day, but just in case I needed some power on the go, I could bring the USB cable that came with the Apple Watch, but I usually have that plugged on the side of my bed because I usually charge this before I go to sleep. Now this is where this little portable charger comes in. Now this has a lightning port in here, so I can just bring my lightning port that charges my iPhone as well. But it also has a 12,000 milliamp battery built in. Now this is by a generic company. This particular model is called the Cube Watch 1000. I'm not going to even try to pronounce the generic company name here, but this is a definite must on the go. Now this does support pass-through charging as well, so I can plug this in. It'll charge the battery in here and also charge the watch at the same time. For those on the go, you still need USB charging, and more we're carrying multiple devices with us that need USB charging. If I'm carrying my bag for work, I have a laptop, my phone with me all the time, and sometimes I carry my iPad as well. So I would get one of these. This is the BioEasy 65 watt 3-port charger. Now I just did a video on this charger and another charger by a company called Tunu. I highly recommend these chargers. Now if you're wanting a more name brand charger, then I would go with the Anker 725 or 735. One is with 2 ports and one is with 3 ports. The BioEasy and the Tunu chargers are pretty much copies of the 735 with 3 ports. Make sure to check out my review I did on these chargers. And finishing up with the theme of power, it's always good to have one of these nice portable power banks. I have this one here by RAV Power. This is a nice large 20,000 milliamp battery. What I like about this particular power bank is that it has a USB-C in and out port for both charging and being charged up by USB-C cable. Now, unfortunately, RAV Power is no longer allowed to sell on Amazon anymore. You can find them directly at their website and at other retailers. Now, if you're wanting to get something through Amazon, I would recommend, again, the Anker products. The Anker 335 power bank is a good one. Having a portable power bank not only helps you on the go when you need to charge, but I find it even useful even at home. If I need power for something really quick that I'm not near an outlet, this is good. This is a good way to have a source of power in different places where you can't. Now I've used it before to power my GoPro when I wanted to do a long time lapse, or even use it for some live online meetings as well. So this next group of products has to do with everything in my office setup here. So when it comes to online meetings and live streams, this has been one of my favorite tools. This is the SmallRig Super Clamp. This clamp comes with a ball head tripod mount here on one end and a clamp on the other end. This clamp is very versatile. I use it to mount cameras, lights, anything that has a tripod mount with it. I like this clamp so much that I even bought 4 of them. One I even gave to my brother for his setup. But I've used it for so many scenarios. Now, while you're doing those live streams or online meetings, it's not only good to have a main key light like I have here, but a hair light and a background light. Now this key light right here, or the Elgato key light I have back there, it's not cheap, but I have these cheaper smart bulbs by Sylvania that I can control through an app. Now these are fully colored bulbs. I could change my background color through an app and through a smart assistant like Amazon Alexa. Now these bulbs are plugged into a nice versatile light clamp. So I would definitely get a smart bulb. Not only do I have these smart bulbs here, but I also have a number of these cheap smart plugs all around the house. Now, it's an easy way to turn on and off lights and other appliances, even with a smart assistant. Now, there are different ways to automate this process as well, even with using NFC tags. Check out a video I did a while ago where I used NFC tags to turn on and off my entire production system. Now I have a video switcher back here. This is the 810 Mini Pro by Blackmagic Design. Now none of the 810 Minis have an on and off switch. So I hooked up one of these smart plugs to it. So now I can turn it on and off with my voice. Now with so many electronic things and gadgets on my desk, what comes with gadgets, you have cables for power and connectivity. As far as cable management is concerned, I'm not trying to have the cleanest and tightest setup. I'm constantly moving things and using things and taking things on and off my table. So although I don't want to mess as far as cables are concerned, I do need something that's flexible. So my cable management could improve a lot more, but having the flexibility is more important to me. So this is where these cable clips come into play. These are a bunch of cable clips that have an adhesive on them. I have them attached to the bottom of my desk, and they have these little clips that you can attach and detach on, so they can latch on and off. Now, if I ever need a more permanent desk solution, I'm still going to use these clips, but I'm going to make them more tighter and where I don't have to like always constantly moving on and on. But these are very versatile clips, and I have these round ones for more like longer cable runs for network cables. So taking care of the cable clutter in your setup can cause you to be actually more productive. And while you're at your desk and you want to feel comfortable, so it's good to have a good airflow, especially if your space is a little stuffy or hot, and especially in the summer months. I would recommend getting one of these portable AC units. Now this happens to be powered by USB-C. This one, you can fill these little containers in here with water and freeze it, and then you put it back into the unit and it blows the cold air through. Now, even without using these frozen containers, it's really nice to have this air circulation. It's all about being comfortable. Speaking about being comfortable, there's nothing that can get you more out of your comfort zone than a bug flying around. That's why you need this. This is an electric fly swatter. You know, if you're in Asia, this is a very common tool for every household because it's so humid in those places like Taiwan. There's a lot of mosquitoes. So this is a very common tool used. Now we have people coming in and out of this house all the time. So we need something to kill some of the bugs, and in particular the flies that come into the house. Now this may seem like a silly thing, but you'll be glad that you have it. Of course, it goes without saying, you got to be careful with kids around. Now this thing does have electricity running through it. Although it's a very low voltage, it'll still shock you and you still have to be careful. Hope you enjoyed this video. What do you think about the pieces of tech I talked about here? Is there anything that you think you can use in your life? What are the different pieces of tech that you actually use in your life that are really small but make your life easier? If you enjoyed this video, give it a like. Consider subscribing. Until the next one, see ya.